We're going to talk about Trex and Armadillo. Two composite deck boards available in our local market. Just before we get too far into exactly who the actual decking, let's just talk a little bit about who they are as companies. Trex is probably the brand you know the most. You've heard about it since 1996 when it first started making composite decking, which shortly after 1998 it started making it patented its decking boards. Armadillo might not be known as well to you. Armadillo is actually part of a much bigger company called Avon Plastic, which in 2010, after previous having some different lines of decking, they started making the product that we know as Armadillo, which is a capped composite. Before going any further, hi, if you haven't met me before, I'm Ryan from decksbye3.com. I build decks in Calgary, Alberta. So, first of all, just a few things to get to know here is Armadillo, like I said, is a capped composite. So Armadillo actually has 10 different lines of decking. They have a commercial one, which is an on-capped. We're not going to really spend any time on that. They have the Essentials collection, which is a better priced decking, but it only has two colors, and we're not going to concern ourselves much with that at all. We're going to talk much more about the Lifestyles, which is this capped composite. We're not going to go through each one of the different colors, but just to know there's 7 colors. It's scalloped on the bottom to reduce cost and weight. And one thing that compared to Trex, so Trex has an on-cap bottom on all of their lines. Armadillo is capped and wrapped everywhere, including inside the groove. Just a few little facts to know. If you want to check the actual charts, you can go to decksbye3.com. But when you take the two... But before we do that, let us not forget we have Trex Transcend, which we should talk about. So Trex has 3 different lines, which can be broken down into 4 lines in total. So they have their best, which is a Trex Transcend, which is, again, like I said, cap only like 2.5 sides because it only goes to the groove. It's not covered on the bottom, but they have some nice variations on the top, some wood grain patterns. Then they have their, then they have their Select line. Difference between the Trex Transcend and the Select is the Select is just 1/8 of an inch thinner. So you can never actually bring these two boards together on the same deck because you'll have a little tripping hazard there because the Select is just a little bit thinner to help reduce cost. And that's where they introduced the Trex Enhance, which is their good line, which instead of making it thinner, they've scalloped the back of it with these nice little grooves. The more you get to know composites, you know there's different ways of doing scalloping. This is the particular way that Trex Enhance does it. And again, it's capped just to the side here. So in total, Trex has 20 different colors. And just right now, looking through my box of samples, I would say the Trex Enhance, the Foggy Wharf, is one of the colors I actually like the best. It's of their economical board, but has some nice dark streaking in it and some good wood grain variations. But durability is very important with composite decking, and that's where they differ a little bit between brands. You have the Armadillo board versus, we'll just pick the Trex Transcend because it's the most popular and most testing's been done on it. So Trex Transcend and Armadillo. Armadillo is over twice as hard for pushing, well, the official test is you take a ball bearing and push it into here until it sinks in. And it will take twice the amount of force that Trex Transcend will do. So, if you get a... Let me see if I have a little rock in here somewhere. I don't. But I've had a little rock on my shoe, and I was stepping on my decking just like that. If it was an Armadillo board, it would take... I would have to be twice as heavy and twice as hard push it down on the Armadillo than a Transcend to push in. So it's a little bit of a more durable board that way. In regards to breakability, there's lots of different little tests you can do in that regards. And still, if we just do the ultimate concentration test, so we just put the decking on, the 16 on center, and at 50 degrees Celsius, which is a really hot day, really hot. Anyways, the Trex Transcend will actually take more weight when you push on it this way before it breaks than the Armadillo. Maybe that's because this is a more rigid board, so it snaps quicker than the Trex Transcend. In regards to traction, just full disclaimer here, I'm largely disappointed in almost all composite decking. It actually doesn't provide the good traction that it should have. Different brands vary a little bit. Overall, you want to move into a much more pricier category of PVC decking, which Armadillo and Trex do not make, to get the traction that you want. But comparing between the two, Trex has a more consistent traction. So if you're afraid of slipping on your deck when you walk out, either when it's dry or wet, Trex is going to consistently grip your feet while you walk. Armadillo is an interesting decking in that way. Is Armadillo actually increases in traction when it's wet. So when you're outside enjoying your deck and suddenly a rain cloud comes and it pours down rain on your deck and you run for the door, Armadillo is going to grip your feet better as you're running for the door than it did when you walked out to the chair in the sun. Don't know why? Just what it is. In regards to price and what you pay for the decking, Trex, with its multiple lines, gives you many different price points. So you have the Trex Transcend, which is the most expensive line. It's a little under $5 a lineal foot, depends which market you're buying it in. You have your Select, which I'm not a big fan of just because it is a thinner board and can't be picture framed, let's say with a Trex Transcend just to enhance the deck. But it is your middle of the range board. Price point wise, it's harder to find Armadillo decking to buy it to start with, but if you did, you're going to roughly be paying the same amount for Trex Select board as you are for an Armadillo board, which is wrapped all four sides. But this is thinner, this is scalloped. If you go over a little further down the line, you get to the Trex Enhance. So the Trex Enhance can be further divided into two groups. You have your basics, which is just your very basic colors. And then, like I said, the Foggy Wharf with streaking, and that's your basic naturals. Both scalloped. The biggest thing is price point on them. There's very few quality decking that you're going to be able to buy that is priced as well as the Enhanced Basics. Depends on your market, of course, but it could be less than $2 a lineal foot for Trex Basics, and that gets you almost as cheap, not quite, but almost as cheap as your pressure treated boards. And then if you factor in maintenance, it is a deal. As I said, quality decking, composite decking should always come with a warranty. And that's where Trex and Armadillo initially are very similar. Armadillo has a 25-year warranty. Trex, same thing, 25-year warranty. Doesn't matter if it's a Trex Transcend, the premium board, Trex Select, middle of the range, or the Enhanced Basics. Doesn't matter, same warranty, 25 years. There is some differentiation between the two. They're both prorated. So the first 10 years, 100% replacement. After that, stepping down 20% every 3 years or so. Trex recently has brought out something which I find very intriguing. If you ever built a deck before, which I have, you know that labor is a big portion of building the deck. Sometimes the labor even costs more than the decking. The composite, generally not, but still it's a big portion of cost of building a deck. So with Trex decking, if you use an official certified Trex installer, they will give a warranty for it. A 5-year based on the level, the tops out at 5 years based on the level of the contractor's volume. The more volume they do, the more warranty that they provide for it. Armadillo gives a 2-year labor warranty, and that's that. As long as it's installed right the first time, same warranty. The one difference is fading. So Armadillo is up front, like almost all the composite decking companies, and this beautiful color that you see here, that's going to fade a little bit in the sun. We know that. And even more than fading, it's going to get a little bit dirt, and even after you power wash it, not too high, but just power wash it a little bit, it's still going to get a little bit more, it's going to fade a little bit in color. But Trex, with their warranty, gives you a limit. It's not going to fade more than 5 delta E's, which is very hard to tell the difference with the naked eye of what 5 delta E's was and what it was before. Yes, of course, I don't have two of the exact same boards here, but, well, I do actually. If you put a clamshell, brand new clamshell, beside an older clamshell, you are going to notice the difference. But beyond that, you're not going to see much difference in your deck, which is great, the limit of 5 delta E's. Like I said, Armadillo, it is going to fade a little bit, but they just don't warranty you how much it's going to fade. Everybody has to make their own decision which decking is best for them. But for me, Trex has been around for a long time. They've been making composite decking, and they've been improving on their composite decking, and it is one of the better deckings, composite decking you can buy out there. If we compare the number of colors, Trex has 20, Armadillo has 10, but really, we're talking just the lifestyles, and they only have 7. If you find the board you love, it doesn't matter what the other 6 colors are, but if you can't find the board you love, Trex is going to give you more options to look through to see which one you do love. Do you like, this is Havana Gold. Do you like that color a little bit more? Or do you want a darker, like a spiced rum? I'm going to build a deck next week in spiced rum. It's a nice color. Trex is going to give you more options that way. In regards to realistic wood grains, it's tough. Which one do you think looks more real? The Armadillo? This is Bronco. Good rodeo. Or the spiced rum? Definitely different wood patterns. The embossing's more distinct in the Trex wood grain, but the Armadillo, yeah, you're going to have to figure that out. That's definitely going to come down to you. In regards to warranty, Trex warranty is more comprehensive. If you've been around the industry long enough, you'll realize that Trex has had lots of lawsuits against them, and their warranty reflects that. They try to be as much upfront as they can, honestly telling you what's going to happen. At the same time, they've improved their product to not have those problems, and then they warranty it accordingly, which is amazing. In regards to durability, I think Trex is more durable. Free world, you can say as you please. I think Trex is more durable. Yes, Armadillo is a little bit harder, but like I said, DexBy3.com, I have more data, but overall, Trex I think is a more durable product. That being said, they're going to both last 25 years. And like I said, with traction, Trex consistently gives you something to walk on that you won't slip off of. Where Armadillo, when it's dry, just rubbing my hands here, it moves pretty easy. I don't think you're necessarily going to slip on your deck, but if you were walking barefoot, the deeper embossing of Trex is going to catch you a lot better. So, there's always price, which sometimes helps us determine between what we choose. Trex is just going to give you more options that way. You can either pay a lot, a little, or very little. It's your choice. I hope that helps you decide which decking you prefer best on your deck. And whatever one you choose, I hope you enjoy your deck.